All right, guys. So MVP of the week here is something special every single week here. It's the most valuable person from the week that went out there and inspired. It's not just about APV. It's about what they did and what they accomplished so we can learn and grow and get better. So this is where we take pens and notes. And if somebody else is doing it, that means it's possible, it's done. And if they're doing something, why aren't we learning from the top people? If Warren Buffett came and sat in here, would you be like, no, I don't want to know what one of the richest people in the world is doing, right? We want to take notes from what the people are doing in our district because they know exactly what's going through, right? So every single week here, you want to learn exactly what's going on. So this MVP here is an absolute delight and is an absolute, what we're talking about MVP is adding the most value to the district. At a scale 1 to 10, you got to give this person at least an 8 to 10 because we're always trying to improve, but every single week, week in, week out, showing up, giving everything they've got. And here, last year, she set all the records. She already did 45,000 in December, which means she's got better. Like people are doing 45,000 APV in a month, which is crazy, right? That's qualifying for the trip in a month. And then this year, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 times, every single time we've had the divisional stars, she's been in the top 3. And guys, honestly, having weeks where she's did the most points we've ever had anybody do in a week here, which was 41 points. And then she followed up with a 23 points and then 2 back-to-back over 15 points. Guys, this is the kind of stuff that when you start to build the flow and understand what's going on and where we're going, this is the type of person. And this is a true friend in every single which way. And she's got not 1, not 2, not 3, but 5 Plinkos to come play. She's shooting for her 6. She's coming down to Edmonton. She's got a whole lot of joy coming with it, guys. Honestly, last week here, doing 13 weeks of gold streaking, getting the spa day, just reward after reward, getting the trips from 2 from last year. This year, she's already qualified for this one, guys. The one, the only, Janelle Anderson. Let's give it up for Janelle.
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 I'm just gonna fix this for a hot little sec. Wow, when you say all the accomplishments like that, it sounds really amazing. I sound like an awesome person. Thank you. You're amazing. So are you. Thank you. Okay. Oh gosh, it's not perfect. Sorry, give me 1 second. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
There we go.
Yay. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, this is so amazing. So first of all, I just have to say that I would not be here today doing the 13 weeks streak or speech or anything like that without Kelly and Nikki. Those two are the ones that inspired me from the beginning. And the reason why I got inspired by that is because before it was done by those two, I actually personally didn't think that it was possible because I was like, it's too hard to consistently do 6 points every single week. And so I just want to give a huge shout out to the two of you because without that, I would not be here today. So thank you so much for going above and beyond and stepping out of your comfort zone and just being the best versions of yourself because it really inspired me to be where I am today. So thank you so much. Okay, now to the best part. Okay, so okay, so today I'm going to be talking about being consistent. And also I just want to say thank you to everybody that voted for me to be MVP this week. Really appreciate you guys. Love sharing what I'm up to. So I say this every time I do my MVP speech, and it's amazing because when someone comes up and does an MVP speech, I think that some people are like, okay, I'm going to learn what they're doing today and I'm going to implement it. But it's like everything that we say is because we do everything that's in the training and everybody's doing what we're doing. We just maybe implemented it a bit more, but I'll talk about that today. So I'm going to be talking about being consistent. And so I don't even know what number of streak I'm at right now. I think it's at like 140 or something. It's crazy. It's almost 3 years, but that's pretty dang consistent if you ask me. But but the one thing about that being consistent is that it hasn't been consistent in a consistent amount of points for the whole 3 years. It's been like maybe 1 point, then Mark said 40, then it's been 26, then it's been 15, then 5. And you know, it's not that I'm unhappy about that. It's just that when it's consistently 6 points or platinum every single week, your paychecks are a lot better because if you do 1 week of 40,000, then you're down to 1 point. It doesn't really help your bank account. But if you're consistent, that is one way to always make sure that your goals are being hit because no matter what, you know that by Sunday night, you did every single thing that you could and you wanted to be consistent. So when I started this thing, I honestly said to Mark, I was like, I don't know if I can do, if I can do it, this 6 points. And what I really, and he was like, no, he's like, you're doing it. And then I cried for a second and I was like, okay, fine, I'm doing it. And, but the thing is the reason why I think when I was writing the speech about why I didn't think that I was able to do it is because maybe it was the fear of maybe if I didn't do the 13 weeks, like maybe if I got to 10 and then I pushed really hard to Sunday and nothing ended up happening and then I actually didn't hit it, like maybe that was the fear of that I actually couldn't actually complete that at the end of the day. Or maybe it was the fear that I did actually hit it and I would get all the recognition, and maybe that's another fear too. So sometimes it's not just that it's too hard to get the 6 points, but maybe what else is holding us back in maybe fear of not completing it because something could happen, or fear of actually winning. So those are two things that I struggle with all the time. And so the thing that really helped me was that at the first week, I said, okay, I'm going to push as much as I can for 13 weeks and never give up. I will never not go Sunday night without doing 6 points. And so for me, that was again another push, because sometimes if you're just consistently always getting in the field, that's one thing, but to get 6 points is another, because sometimes it doesn't happen in one sale. Sometimes it doesn't happen when you have your appointment set up on Monday. So that was a really big realization, but I told myself that no matter what, for these next 13 weeks, I will not go 1 week without doing 6 points, and that was my goal. One of the things that I do, and I've done right from the very beginning of when I started this career, I guess, oh my gosh, 4 years ago, which is crazy. I got my license in 2017, but is I take the energy from the trainings, especially on Monday, and I implement them in my appointments. And I always try and do appointments right after training, because that's like when I'm the most excited. Like, I don't know if I can get any more excited, but it's like when I get the most energy, because we're pumped up. We have these amazing trainings, and then we get to watch this amazing video, and then you get to implement it. And honestly, the only thing that I'm doing in my appointments is exactly what we're doing on the trainings. I literally take word for word from the trainings and I put it in the appointment. And then I get pumped up. And then so what happens is Monday, I'm all pumped up because I'm on the training, I'm doing my appointments. And then I sometimes get a close on Monday if you guys haven't caught on to that, which is really great. So that's what I'll also talk about, is making sure that your Mondays are set up. But your Mondays are set up, you get a close, your Tuesdays are awesome, your Wednesdays, and then sometimes Wednesdays you're like, okay, I need to pick me up. And then bam, Thursday, we get another training, which is awesome. Then you get to carry that Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then again, Monday, we get another training. So it's so amazing. So that's what I really do, is I take all the energy and put it towards my appointments. The thing is, why trainings are so important is because honestly, if we think about our business, and I know this about myself, if we even miss one training, sometimes we feel off. You know, when we have like a holiday Monday and it's Monday and you feel awkward because it's 8 a.m. or I guess 9 a.m. for you in Alberta, you're like, what am I supposed to, is it 8 days a week this week? Like, it's a long week. Like, it just feels so weird. So it's just like, if we didn't have these trainings, I know for myself, I would not be here. And I've said that right from the very get-go, especially being out in BC before the team was here and it was just me out here and things like that. Like, it's a tough game if we don't have the trainings and the team to be around. So that's why I'm so excited for the team party. I haven't been able to meet a lot of you. A lot of people ask me if I'm real. I am real. I will be seeing you soon. So that's what I'm really excited about. But trainings are so important because you get to learn so much. And the thing about the trainings is that there's no secret. We're giving all the secrets every single day, every single week. Like, that's what I love about it. It's not like sometimes, I don't know if you've watched like a motivational video and they're telling you stuff, but it's not exactly what it is. We're telling you exactly what it is. There's no hiding here. It's very forward and it's really amazing. So also the thing is what I really had to reflect on doing these 13-week streaks and making sure I have 10 appointments every single week and doing the 6 points is that it's our job to have our week set up. That's why we're here. If we're not doing that, what else are we doing? Because other people have to go to work 9 to 5, go home, do whatever, but it's like, this is our job. So it's like, if you don't have your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday set up, then what are you doing on the weekends? What are you doing the week before? Are you making your phone calls? And if you're not, that's okay, start today, but just kind of reflect on that, because it's our job to be here. Because if we're not doing that, then why are we even here? Do you know what I mean? Like, why else would we be here if that's not what we're wanting to do? So And the thing is, it's not very difficult because we have such an amazing opportunity and such amazing products here that everybody loves them, which is why we're here. All of us signed up almost like right away. And so why would we not want to share that with so many other people? So I'm gonna share this little story with you guys about opportunity, because being in this game for 4 years and being consistent and winning all these things and stuff like that, sometimes everybody ebbs and flows. And so sometimes we also forget how amazing this opportunity is. And I sometimes forget too, because we're in this game all the time. We come to trainings every single week and it's the same thing. So when I heard this story, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So I'm gonna tell you this story. It's kind of funny and it's kind of, anyways. So there's a place in Louisiana and they're having a huge storm. There's a huge flood. The whole place is flooding. And there's this preacher and he's in this church and it's flooding. And so everybody goes to the roof and the water is rising. And then some people are like, hey, we got to get out of here. So some people leave on a boat. They're like, preacher, we got this boat. Come with us. The preacher goes, no, God's going to take care of me. They're like, the water is rising. He's like, God will take care of me. I'm good. They're like, okay. Then another boat comes on like a couple hours later and the water's rising and rising. And they're like, preacher, come on, you're going to drown. Like, let's go. And he goes, no, I'm good. God's going to take care of me. They're like, okay, you do you, boo. And then, so anyways, the water's rising and rising and rising. And then a helicopter comes and they're like, preacher, get in. We're here to rescue you. We're going to take you to safety. He goes, nope, God's going to take care of me. They're like, okay, they leave. And then the water rises and the preacher drowns. Okay, then he goes to heaven. When he passes away, he goes to heaven and St. Peter's is there. And he goes, and the preacher's mad. He goes, I don't understand. I thought God would take care of me and all this type of stuff. And St. Peter goes, you silly man, we sent you 2 boats and a helicopter. And so, right? And so sometimes it's like we don't really recognize the opportunity when it's here because we're focused on one specific thing when really an opportunity could be a multiple of things. But because we're focused on one thing, sometimes we don't see the big picture. So that's why on the training the other day when Mark said, sometimes when you're doing the avatar and you're consistent and you're doing 10 things every single week, you'll get opportunities that you didn't even know that could come about because you weren't really expecting them. But that's the whole purpose of it. And that's the whole magic of life and the universe and God is that if you're doing things that you're supposed to be doing, other things will come in order to make you feel the way that you want to be, which should be happy all the time. So that's the story about that, about the opportunity, because sometimes I forget too, because we're supposed to be here, we're supposed to be doing our points every single week. And sometimes we forget about how amazing this is. So I just want to give a shout out to Mark and for doing the avatar, because honestly, it's a huge realization to realize that we all could be doing a lot more. And I think about that in my business too, because when Mark and I went through my avatar, I was like, oh, I got 10 things. And he's like, okay, write them out. I was like, okay, just kidding. I have like 4. I have 4 things. And so he's like, okay, so then if I'm like, if I only have 4 things, then other people must only have 4 things or 5 things or whichever too. So when we start to add more things in the avatar and we start to add, even if I add 6 more things, like if it's surveys or more phone calls or whatever it may be, whatever I decide to add in there, then I know no matter what, that I know that I'm on track to hit platinum, because now my goal was to hit 6. And now that I've done 6 every single week, I know that I can hit platinum. And so sometimes when we do goals, we think about a big, massive goal, and then sometimes we get discouraged if we don't hit it. So what I recommend to the team is start with a goal that you can hit consistently and then work your way up. Because if you start to shoot for something that's way out of the ballpark and you don't hit it, you get discouraged and you don't end up doing it. So start at 6 points. 6 points is such a great start because you're making a couple thousand every single week, no matter what. And it's only one family. And if you book it up on a Monday, you get the whole rest of the week to do whatever you want, or you can continue on and do more points throughout the week. But it's all about just having something you can consistently do. So I would definitely recommend doing the 6 points, because it's at the end of the day, it's not that difficult and is what we should be doing anyways. So now my goal is platinum. I feel really vulnerable saying this in front of everybody. I usually don't like to share my goals because if I don't hit them, it's a little bit shameful for me. But at the same time, I think that it's good to share them so that people can hold you accountable, because for a long time here without the team, I didn't really have anybody to hold me accountable. And now I've got, everybody knows me in the district. Now I got the team. So now I have to be held accountable. And I actually kind of like it because it makes you do it. If no one's holding you accountable, you can slip through the cracks and no one really realizes until you look at your bank account. You're like, I haven't been paid in like 6 weeks because I haven't done anything. And I don't like that feeling. So, which is why I've been in field for almost 3 years, which is crazy. Okay. So in my opinion, when I think about MVP, I think about that it's not just what you've done up until this point. It's about how you can become a better agent, a better sales leader from now continuing on every single week. So that is my goal to myself and the team, is just to become a better version of myself starting from today moving forward. I love being MVP. I love sharing what I get to do. And honestly, if you guys didn't pick up on anything, I'm not really doing anything crazy. I'm just literally doing it. And that's the awesome thing about it. As long as you plug into the trainings, as long as you do your 10 appointments every single week, as long as you make sure that you're following up with people and you're doing your 6 points and you're chasing and you want the 6 points, because it's a mental thing also. The difference between a successful person and a non-successful person is just the thinking. The person that says, yeah, I'm going to do it, and they do it. And the other person being like, oh, maybe I'll do it tomorrow, or maybe I'll do it the next week. That's the only difference between it. It's a mental game, and this game is so mental. Not bad, like a mental, it's like a mental game with this industry, because it's all about your PMA. And that's why I love it, because it's all about your positive mental attitude. And if you're having a bad day, it reflects on everything else. So it's all about having the best days ever, being the best version of yourself, and then getting your goals and achieving them. Because let me tell you, when you achieve your goal, it is the best feeling ever. And I would love for everybody to experience that, because it is so fun. So thank you guys so much for nominating me as MVP. I cannot wait to come there in a month. I haven't been there for a year, which is so crazy. And I can't wait to meet you guys and share more stories with you. And I'm just so thankful to be a part of this team. Thank you to Mark for everything that you do every single week, to all the sales leaders, to everybody that's absolutely crushing it, for the new people in this district. I cannot wait to spend time with you. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys soon. Thank you.
Woo! Let's give it up for Janelle Anderson. Great job. What a great MVP speech. Give her a huge round of applause here, guys. So much in there and so much energy. And she is the definition of PMA, right? And the reason why you want to like really take that in from the PMA guys is that it's how you come to the room. When you talk about to the trainings, that's how you show up. Right. And it's a reflection. So if you come to the trainings like, I can't wait to learn, I can't wait to have my appointment set up afterwards, I'm going to take the energy from this and I'm going to go into my appointments, life becomes so much more fun. But if you're like, oh, I didn't do everything I was supposed to do and I got to go listen to Mark and blah, blah. Like you're going to put yourself in that mind. And I can see it. I can see it when people are like, I didn't do it. It's okay, because we can start again. And that's the thing, is if we can, she's taught me so much of being that kind of positive all the time is contagious. It's unbelievable. You guys, it's not fake. That is 100% real. She's not like push the button, woo! Like, no, it's like literally like that all the time, because she's living it. And like, that's what the thing is, that's inspiring, that we can all learn from each other. And we're not all just like that. She's a super extrovert, but that's okay, because it shows that you can have anything that you want, because she had the limitations of maybe not doing the 6 weeks. And what I want to talk about here, guys, is she had the fear of not getting to 6 points. And then guess what we do? Oh, I don't need it. I don't really want the spa day. I don't really want the trip. I don't want the Beats by Dre headphones. I don't want this kind of stuff. Not because you don't want it, but because you don't want to find out if you can't get it. And that's life. Because in here, again, we've shown the avatar. There is no excuses anymore. It's up to you. We've come to a point where I genuinely care if you win or lose. But now it's not up to me. I can't take it personal. It's up to you. You're in the exact same room. We have an avatar. You can show all these different types of things. You got all the best people in the world sharing all the secrets. Nobody's holding anything back. It's an unbelievable place, right? But what she did, instead of this, she made a decision. I'm doing 6 points for 13 weeks. And she didn't like it, but she was like, I'm going to do it. And then she did it. And then every week she goes, I'm going to make sure I'm setting up my beginning of my week to make sure I hit the 6 points in the first few days, so I'm not panicking. And out of the 13, probably about 10 were all done on Monday, because she set it up so that she doesn't put in, because that's what we get to do. You can set up to win in anything. And I love her story about opportunity. That's the opportunity. If you set up your Monday strong, guys, you can get in field. So what she's saying is start with 6 and start doing 6 weeks. If you just want to get in field for 13 weeks in a row, get in field for 13 weeks in a row. Just get one sale. And then you're like, I can do the 6. Now I can start doing the 6. And now Janelle's going, I'm going to go with the platinum. To actually be accountable to everybody right now is crazy. But guess what she gets to find out? She gets to find out who she really is. Courage is finding out who you really are to go, there it is. Because what happens is we're all legends in our own mind. Would you guys agree? We're like, oh, I'd get that done. I'd do that, but you just don't know. I got to do a couple of things over here, right? So once these things are done, I'm going to get to that. And then you get distracted and you don't do it. But we all say those things. But the courage is a person that goes, I'm going to go get it done, whether win or lose. And then you don't limit yourself. Because if your ambition can far outweigh your talent, you've won. That means you're going to go above and beyond by just going like this. I don't mind if I fail. I don't mind that kind of stuff because I'm around a bunch of people that are celebrating wins for absolutely no reason sometimes. And it's fantastic because I'm part of something like that where people get excited about coming to their trainings every single week and getting excited that you can, honestly, any given Sunday, you can make 6, 7K that week. Where else can you do that? So our only thing is ourselves is limitations. And I love what Janelle said here today. The opportunity is not going to come exactly the way you want it, but it is here. And there's no excuses anymore. So if you want it, let's go get it. And you can have exactly like that. We get to celebrate and play Plinko and go on free trips and all that kind of stuff. And every single person should have it here. It's just some type of limitation. If we want it, we can fight against that, everything together. Right, guys? So I was going to do season just for 6 end. Okay, but we're going to go to a break here. We're going to go to a break here. We'll come back here. So let's give Janelle a huge round of applause here, guys. We're going to come back at 10 o'clock here, guys. So we'll see you guys at 10 o'clock. And we'll get things rock and roll. We got some great claim stories to go. So see you guys in a great. Congratulations, Janelle. All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Turn to your neighbor and give him a high five and say, it's our claim to fame. All right. So let's get rocking and rolling here, guys. We have an action-packed day here to kick through here, guys. But this is the difference between us and anything else out there is our claim to fame. Now, again, the opportunity, as Janelle was talking about, let's give Janelle a huge round of applause here, is our claim to fame and everything that we're doing. It's gonna be a bit of time. So, our claim to fame in this business and what we're doing and everything like that has never been seen before. So that's the opportunity, but that's also a little bit of the struggle, right? And that's when talking about the helicopter and stuff like that. Like sometimes we don't see it exactly the way that we want to see it. Like, no, he's gonna beam me up and give me millions of dollars, right? And then that's the toughest thing is that we just don't see what's gonna happen, right? So it's not exactly what we want to do because it's life, right? We've been told our whole lives that it's just like, you're just going to become rich because you brush your teeth, right? But here it is, it's all here. I start to see it because it's like every year we've got better. Right. Every year we've got stronger. Every time you're here, it's that much better. We just went through COVID. We went through one of the toughest times in probably our generation ever. Since like World War II, not the whole world is not shut down. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? And we're coming through that part. We're getting on the other side of it. Last year was tough. We couldn't even go face to face. We couldn't do things. I know Cleo and Candace couldn't do they were just getting into surveying and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden it's like, no. And you're like, what? And then you just be like, okay. And then it becomes stagnant and starts getting tougher. So if we understand what this is here, it becomes fun. And now you're hearing from Janelle, it's like, guys, this is that little, just that like that 1 inch from gold. Like it's going to happen. You can see what's happening because Janelle in her first years, guys, she's had this long streak, but she wasn't on she was on some of the trips and on the major trips, right? Because she was focused on just getting in field every week. And now she's focused on being 6 points every week. And then you watch her paychecks go, go, go. It's not that she got into field every time. Now she's doing 6 points. Now she's like, what about platinum? It's not like she's putting in, 80 hours a week. I promise you that. I promise there's no one really anywhere close to that. And if you are, you'll find out in the video what you're really focusing your time on. But the idea is that this actually becomes super fun if you just like, oh, wow, everything I do, I get to set my own time, get to do all these types of things. I have a real career here. And in 3, 4, 5 years, 7 years from now, wow, I could be done. That's what's here. That's what the opportunity is. And it's because of this. It's our claim to fame. But what we've done in between that is we set up a process of how to win. Most businesses out there, guys, they just kind of promise you like, oh, I'll do this, this, and this. Here's our process after this many years. If the company could get a hold of this, they'd be like, oh my God, but they wouldn't understand how much is behind it. Try to even explain it to the company, like, well, what's this points thing? Or, whoa, what's the point, right? You come to our trainings for 6 months, right? So the process is you got to have a goal. We've always seen that in every single book and everything we've ever done. So you got to have a goal and you got to focus on it. The major reason why most people don't have is what they want is because they don't know what they want. Honestly, it's just one of those things. If you focus on it every single time, you're looking at the same house, the same house, the same house, for some reason you'll get a house. It's incredible, right? But if you're not looking at that, it just never shows up. So you want to dream. And that's where we're talking about. Look at houses, look at cars that get you excited. Oh my goodness, you go to a dealership and take a test drive and be like, I want that. Because then you start thinking about it more and more, right? And that's where it can really get exciting. The next thing you got to make sure that this company can actually get you what you want. Yes, it is. And look at the money that's coming in. And trust me, guys, I've been in many businesses before. There's a lot of like whatever promises and stuff like that, but nobody makes the money that we make here consistently. The cool thing is that there's a guy named Darren Smith. He's been around the company for 35 years and he's been making over 400 to 500 grand for the last 20 years. I've been in a lot of businesses, guys, that people are like, oh yeah, that's that one guy, but no one ever knows who he is. We're making that money and we're not even known yet. So what can be happening? There's no pound for pound anything that can go do what this company is doing because this is for real. And that's what's exciting about because we don't know what's going to happen here. And I promise you that because I've seen every business out there, right? Here's the system. And now we actually have a system what to do. So you do all these avatars and then you do this here on the side here, filling out your avatar and everything like that, making sure you're filling your lists. And then you're having this, having your calendarization. So it's there. So if you don't have your lists, again, you don't be like, I need to spend, all day today just to make my list. Do that at night, do that at first in the morning when you're not talking to clients, but you start building up these lists, it's going to give you more inventory and we're starting to get better. Because remember, half the game, as Janelle is saying, is just in our heads. If you have a list of many people to talk to and a bunch of activities to do, it'll start to fill up your days and it starts to get really, really fun, right? And then on top of that, we're going to talk about is understanding it's upstream. Got to know that this is something different. This is going to be tough. This is not going to be easy. Anybody promises that it's going to be easy, you just have to do this, 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 and you're going to win. Liars, right? It can't work like that. Yeah, if you do this, and it's just like, no, do all of this, have a little windmill and make sure you still get in the focus and all that kind of stuff and make sure you talk to the right people every single day and make sure you show up to trainings. It's actually, our system is formulated, but a lot of people will say different things, right? So understanding this is a system, understanding it's going to be upstream, but it's going to be worth it. And then understanding it's the growth, understanding that over time, you're going to see in the video today that you might need to do 10 appointments and get 1 sale. But then over time, when you get better, you might do 10 appointments and get 6 sales. And that's the whole point of improving and growing in definitely a system, if that makes sense, right? Yeah. So here's the major thing that we're all talking about here. What Janelle was talking about, what we've changed up in this thing is now for any outside sales, you can go and do all these types of things. You could have 3 more warm market presentations, e-leads. And what we changed up here is all the 10 things, and this is just an avatar. So I would definitely, it's in the group or got to a sales here. You can actually print this out. You can put a picture of yourself on there, whatever it is, and make sure you're set up like this to have it real. Because you're like, oh, I got 10 things. Can't say it, you got to show it, right? So if I'm like, hey, what's your 10 things, Bobby, right? Bobby's going to be like, send me a,
look how pretty this
boom,
is.
Look how pretty that is, right? Look at that, right? Should be like, boom, screenshot. Don't even question it, right? You can't, it's like, when somebody's like, oh, where are you right now? You just, and then they show a picture of themselves in the hospital. You're like, okay, fair enough. There's nothing better than taking a quick picture of what you're doing because then it's real, right? Because there's a lot of times you're just like, oh yeah, I couldn't make it because, things, and I was in the hospital and you're like, yeah, right. And then you just like take a picture of yourself in the hospital. You're like, okay, fair enough, right? Now, if you're going to go all the way there to get in the hospital, touche, right? But here's all the things that we get to do, and that's how you do your 10 appointments. Now, what we did change up here a little bit was to make it visual, is to talk about what you're supposed to do for each place. Because if you know that you just have to do 3 e-lead presentations or 3 foot rules, you're like, okay, I just have to get 3 there. That's what Caleb's talking about. He's like, now there's a number that I just have to tangible there, and I don't have to put my pressure on myself. Because what if structured networking was one of your only things? That means you need 10 from structured networking. And if you don't get it, then you start feeling bad about yourself. And you start putting pressure on yourself. And then you just go like this, and you start taking out a mark, all that kind of stuff. I can feel it, right? But the idea is, I don't like you and your stupid hat. Okay, but the structured networking is when you put too much pressure, but now you're just like, okay, I gotta have 2. Is that hard? No, because you're actually with a bunch of people that are doing structured networking. Then your association, like Tamara's talking about, over time, it doesn't mean, oh, I'm just trying to talk to the the top person every single week. How do I get to that person? Well, you might have to get to his people, right? And work all the way, but along the way, you could make a whole ton of money. Dan didn't go, you know what? I'm not signing anybody up until I get to the top guy and I get his go ahead. No, he was like, I want to protect the people along the way, and somebody's going to, and it took him 1.5 years, and then he got there. Now he gets to sit in front of the whole association. That's what this is out. This is like a real career, guys. This is the real deal, right? So after that, you have meetups, maybe 2 from there, social media, you're doing 3 from there, just doing LinkedIn or anything like that. Just talk to people. Maybe people start seeing yourself. You're showing your happy clients. So this starts to really build up for yourself. Partnerships, you have a mortgage broker. Or what did Dan call it? The power team.
Yep.
So you have a power team of people that have a mortgage broker, you have a developer, you have all these different people that if you need something or somebody wants to buy a house or buy anything, you have a team of people because you're going out there with 20 different presentations a week. So you can offer all these structured people so much because you're in contact with a lot of people. And if you have a really good mortgage broker, every time they sit down with somebody, they give your name, right? Or even better than that, you actually get them to like really see how to coach them on it. You're like, hey, let them know I'm going to be calling them and just hype me up. And then you get them on a thank you program. I guarantee you that makes it 10 times easier that person knows you're calling them from a professional and another professional is coming in. Game on. So this is your strategy. So, but it's only 3, but you might need 3 or 4 people here. But somebody who's like, Mark, I love this strategy. I want 10 from here. Boom. That's your world, right? And then the community board, again, this is something massive. Again, Mark, why would I jump on the community board? But what if they have community meetings on Monday morning only? Well, then you don't do that one, but you can still join in and be part of your community because people see you around talking about that's where families are, that's where our discounts are. And you're going to talk about that today. All that kind of stuff is there. And then surveying. This is not 8 hours a day. We're not asking anybody here to pick up the phone and just make calls. There's a district in our company that was trying to compete with us for a little bit. And all they do is they get all 25 people and they meet in a room and they make calls like this all day. And if they get a sale, they can maybe go home a half an hour early. We ain't gonna do that, right? And guess what? Their strategy cuts out because then who are they calling? That gets old and it gets demotivating. That's why you want to have all these things and picking some things that you have fun with and surveying maybe for 2 hours. Go there for 2 hours, get 25 names, high five, go for a little margarita, right? It doesn't matter. You got your job done because then you have 25 names to call, right? And what if you get no sales from that one? That's okay because it will work in the rest of them, right? And then we start to learn how to do this thing and you start to getting, because that's 23, and then we start to do this and by getting introductions, it all of a sudden it can turn to 46. Now, again, when I see 46, people are like, oh, Mark, that looks like work. Well, damn right it does, right? But here's the cool thing. That's not going to happen every time. But it's possible that we just showed you how to get 46. So let's say you want to go on a trip on a cruise. And you're like, you know what? I have a cruise in September. If I go crazy right now and I start to build this thing up, I start getting 46, I could maybe land, this is what we're talking about, guys, 10 grand in a week.
Right.
You do a few of those, your trip's paid for.
Right.
And you could actually go away for a month. You hear that in the video. We want people to have a lifestyle. We just got to make sure you're working for that lifestyle. Our chance is the opportunity so you can actually go do all that kind of stuff, right? And be away. So, but that's possible now. 46 is there. So she's like, Mark, 46 appointments is crazy talk. I know. But if you got to 10, then you got to 20, and you got to 30, because I guarantee you, if you're doing 20 appointments a week, it's not 40 hours. It's not, but we think it is. But I'm just saying this is a possibility. So you're doing all these types of things. And if that lands, wow. You don't have to do that every single week, but that's cool that we're not just telling you, you can make this money. We're like, you could actually have the opportunity to make the money, right? Instead of doing that. Because there's only so many hours in a day. But guys, there's no one here that is working. I guarantee you, I promise you this, that's working like 40 hours a week just on this business. They might be doing things, and you're going to hear it from Mr. Jim Rohn himself, but they're not working 40 hours of just like straight, this is appointments, this is my thing, this is what I'm kind of doing, right? And if we could, that means that there's so much possibility when we get out there and do this. So the whole reason of all this is to kind of, it's not just about presentations, it's not just about this, is that this is really actually helping people. Like the stories that you're going to hear here today are crazy. These are stories that if by just going out there and showing somebody this, they bought it and their life obviously changed forever because something bad happened, but we were here and they're getting a bit of money. It doesn't fix everything, but it does make it a little bit easier. Yeah. Our job is to be passionate about something like this. And when you get a claim and somebody's like calls you up and goes, thank you so much for not listening to my nose and everything like that. And then all of a sudden they get paid $20,000 when I needed it. We're talking about like those crazy claims where Darlene had was $14, got in a car accident. It was her fault. Her own company's not paid out. And she was in the hospital for 3 months. And her husband had to leave his thing, what he's doing, because he had to be there side by side. And we have that here. And then they got paid on a $14 policy, close up to $40,000. Guys, that's life-changing, right? So that's what we have here. So it's these stories. That's why we do the 46, is to get the stories that you're going to hear here today. So what we're going to do is we're going to go 1, 2 in a row, and then we're going to go to the breakout room so you can practice it, right? So we're going to start off. Our very, very first person here is Mr. Daniel Swanson. He's going to come on up here, guys. So what we're going to do, he's going to bring the heat. He's going to talk about what the first one. The second person is going to be going is Al, and we're going to do 2 in a row. So let's give Dan a huge round of applause here to start off the Claims Corner.
Good morning, D6. So this one here is actually like my very first big claim, and it was a game changer in my career, because when you first join this company, like, you know, you're told a lot of things and you hear a lot of things, but you don't really fully know how great this company is until something catastrophic actually happens to someone. So this is a time where I actually met an owner of a painting company at a trade show, and I told him about our program. He said he was interested. And when I showed it to him, he was like, you know what? I really like this, and it's affordable. So I'm going to get all of my painters a little policy, like 20, 30 bucks a person. I said, great. That was a great little sale for me. One of those guys happens to be that 19-year-old that broke his neck. So the kicker for this for me, you guys, and I want you to really like listen to this, is that I signed this 19-year-old up on the policy, and he paid 1 month of premium, and 3 weeks later, he broke his neck at the trampoline park. Okay. When you sign someone up on coverage, you don't sign them up thinking that something catastrophic may happen to them tomorrow, next week, or next month. But sometimes it actually does happen. And you were the one person that got there proactively and got in front of them and made a big, so that was like that hit home for me, because like that family financially, they had enough to stress about and worry about. But the one thing that they had a lot less stress on was the financial devastation that comes along with when one of your children becomes paralyzed. Okay, so this is like a really powerful one, but he did get paid over $45,000. I think he got more than that, but I don't have the hard number. But I think he got paid over $50,000, probably between 50 to 70. And yeah, honestly, guys, like, you just never know when something's going to happen to someone after they get a policy, and this was proof for me that got me believing a lot more.
Yeah, let's give it up for Dan Swanson. So that was a plan 2. Let's give Dan a huge round of applause here, guys. And why is this so powerful? Because this is a story that carried us through, because we didn't even know how big this thing could be, on a plan 2 that the employer bought for this person, and then getting this kind of thing, and they get paid out, you know, over $45,000. And this was actually in the news. This was a big story. And I was like, that was us? Yeah. You had that guy covered? And Dan's like, yeah. I'm like, that's amazing. And that's why we go out there and do what we do, right? So let's give Dan a huge round of applause here on a plan 2. So we're going to go for a second one here. We're going to bring Mr. Al Santos up for the second one, guys, and then we'll get practicing on both. We'll take 3 minutes to actually practice on both, and we'll both put them in the group here. So let's give it up for Mr. Al Santos.
Good morning, D6. I'm so excited to share to you one of my first client on my PAL week when I started Combined, and the biggest claim so far among all my clients. And this client is a machine operator and taking prescription medication for his kidney disease. Unfortunately, that prescription medication gave him an adverse effect that led him to an abdominal ulcer. And unfortunately, rushed in the hospital from work and confined in the ICU for full 2 months, and another 2 months in the recovery room. So in total, for hospital confinement and recovery benefit, they were able to receive a staggering $54,000 for just the basic HES plan. And the family were very, very thankful. that I was able to protect them with this kind of policy. So, whom do you know that people takes prescription medication that can benefit from our program? So, thank
Wow,
you.
let's give it up for Mr. Al Santos. Guys, and this is one of the ones that we talk about when somebody goes, I never get sick, right? They take a prescription medication, which happens, and then there's a complication, stomach ulcer, 2 months in the hospital. Guys, all because we went out there and shared this to them, right? And they got $54,000. Because again, you can't put somebody, you don't know the price that somebody's going to be in the hospital, guys. So $54,000 on a person who goes, I never get sick. And then that's the kind of story we get to save them. Okay, so we got the trampoline one, and then we got Mr. Al Santos's ulcer one. Let's go and practice these two here. We'll take 3 minutes, practice those two, and we'll come back and get to the next set. Great job, Dan and Mr. Al Santos. Great job. Yeah, okay, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Turn to your neighbor, give them a high five and say, thank you, Dan and Al. Great job, fantastic here. So now we're up to the next two guys here. So again, these are stories of, you know, it's really learning of what these stories are, so you can actually be able to make sure you're ready for them at all times, because a lot of people are going to say, I'm never going to get sick, I'm never going to hurt. And it's like this is something we're never going to, like, you're just not expecting it. But these are real things. And when people see this kind of stuff, again, you have to show the visual. If you're just talking about it, it doesn't click into them. For some reason, this whole thing, this whole right here, just seeing this trampoline center, for some reason, clicks in for somebody, right? So if you show that, you just have it on your phone, just like, oh, what about this one? Let me just show you this. Let me just send this to you really quick. Guys, this becomes more and more real, right? And this is what we're doing here. So again, you're not just talking about these things. You got to be showing them visuals as much as possible. So let's get up to the next one here. So next two we have here is Keith and Jenny. So the first one up here is Keith. So let's give Keith a huge round of applause to share this one. Great job, Keith.
Okay, so this claim story actually lends itself really well as a testimonial at the end or during a quality presentation after you've gone through the inpatient portion of the program, because it covers all the aspects of the program. He was 7 days in the hospital. 2 of those days were in the ICU. He did get the full ambulance reimbursement, and he got the full 21 days of recovery benefit. So, to say it, father of a young family, was on his way home from work when he was hit head on by a drunk driver. He fortunately had our accident hospitalization program and received $11,400 to go towards his recovery. So let me ask you, who do you know that might like some extra peace of mind while they're out there driving on our unpredictable city streets?
Wow, let's give Keith a huge round of applause. What a great one there, Keith. Great job, guys. And again, this hits home for a lot of people, drunk driver, somebody picture like that kind of stuff. And it actually hits a base of all those things here. So make sure you guys are 7 days in the hospital, 2 in ICU, ambulance reimbursement, and then having the full 21 days. So great job, Keith. Let's give him a huge round of applause. All right, so we'll practice that one after this next one here. So let's give it up for Jenny for the next one.
Okay, so I actually wrote this down so that I could get through this story because it's really sad. So Dad, he was preparing to sit down to watch a movie with his little ones. And it was a really hot day. He opened up a window, he went downstairs to go and get some water. And he came back up and his child was gone and the screen was out of the window. So the little guy didn't make it. But thankfully the family was shown the AD&D policy. They purchased a full plan-free AD&D. So this family has received $200,000. So obviously nothing can replace the life of the child, but having this amount of money come in really helps the family to have the dignity to go, to deal with this the way that they need to. So when we go out there, many people tell us they have life insurance. It's fine, we don't need to look at it, but I'm always showing this to people because most don't have something in a horrible event, something happens to their child. So please go out there and show this AD&D family policy to people. At the base plan, it's $16. That's it. For heaven forbid if something happens like this.
Wow, let's give Jenny a huge round of applause here, guys. And this one's not an easy one, right? Because this is not even easy for us to make the decision to actually put this in front of the room, because this is difficult, but it has to be talked about. Because when you're going to do a review or when you're sitting down with them, to add on $16 for entire family, because most people don't think of getting life insurance on them. And when they do, usually it's only $20,000 to $50,000 unless they're going to get into like some real serious sit downs. So here, this is 200,000. It doesn't bring anything back. It doesn't do anything like that. But on an accident, you don't know what can happen. And it's nothing that's easy to talk about, but it's also something that sometimes if people have any worried about anything like that, this stuff does happen. And we just don't know about it, but this happens almost every year to somebody, something happening. You never know in a car accident, you don't know these types of things. So having the accidental, just an add-on and a family plan, even the starting one is $16. Guys, this is something that we just got to make sure we're doing here. So let's go and practice these two. Pick one or two, or just to go like this, share this, guys. But we just got to make sure this is being known. So this is what happens, and this is what our company does. $200,000 to the family. It's not going to take any of the pain away, but it just makes their life a little bit easier for anything else like that. So let's give Jenny and Keith a huge round of applause for their shares, and let's come back in 3 minutes here, and let's practice these two. All right, welcome back. Turn to your neighbor, give them a high five, and say thank you for your shares. Great job, Jenny and Keith here. Again, guys, not sometimes easy things to easily talk about, but that is the world. And we're talking about people pass away almost every day, and if you have a family plan like that, where a lot of people used to pay like $20 to $30 a month per child on our life insurance, and it's like $30, and that's only for 50,000 or 30,000 or something like that. This is 200,000. I mean, again, it's not an easy thing to talk about, but this is that kind of stuff. And drunk drivers is a thing to talk about. And again, this is what we get. This is what's here. But how many injuries happen a day? People passing away is one thing, but how many injuries are happening every single day, right? Because that's why we're here also. So great job. The next two we're going to have is the COVID one. So next up we have the wonderful Janelle Anderson. Let's give it up for Janelle, MVP.
Yay, amazing. Okay, perfect. So the one thing I love about Combined is that we almost adapt to everything. So when we had this new crazy illness coming on the world, a lot of insurance companies exempted people from claiming because they don't also pay out the way that we do. But because we're so amazing and nobody knows about us, we do things that people don't realize. So this was really amazing for my client because at the beginning of COVID, she was actually hospitalized. They didn't actually know what it was at the beginning. This was at the very beginning of the year. And she has the Plan 2 HES. She was actually hospitalized for 5 days. And then so she got the $750 for the 5 days of being in the hospital, and then she got the 2,000 and whichever the number is to make up the 3,000 for the rest of the time in there. But the awesome thing about it is that she's a self-employed cleaner, and so her business also shut down during COVID because of all the rules and regulations and things like that. So thankfully she did have her plan. So heard this in the office today, there's a self-employed cleaner, and the awesome thing about our plans is that we actually do cover for COVID-19. So she was hospitalized for 5 days. She got paid $3,000, and this really helped offset some of the time that she had to take off work because she needed to recover and things like that. So who else do you know that's either a self-employed cleaner or just self-employed in general and could also really use this type of coverages if they were diagnosed with COVID-19 or anything like that? So thank you.
Great job, Janelle. Let's give Janelle a huge round of applause here. Again, guys, a great story of 5 days in the hospital, $3,000 offsets the cost, and she can continue to use it. Make sure you're always saying and it's not just for COVID, it's also for any type of sickness, and your premiums are not going to go up because of all that kind of stuff. I hear Dan say it all the time. He's always adding in those things because, again, even though you claim here, your premiums are not going to go up. That's not rare out there, guys. So, whatever it is. But you know what I mean? So let's give Janelle a huge round of applause here. And let's give another COVID case here. We're going up to Jester. So take it away, Jester.
Hello, good morning, D6. This is truly an amazing story. What it is it's a hospital worker. They're in the hospital. He's hospitalized for COVID. He's exposed to COVID. The risk is there, but Combined continues to pay. People say we're not going to get covered. It's risky, but Combined covers risk or no risk. And that's one of the things I found love with. And it's hospital HES program. He was in the hospital for 17 days. The family's he's a family man. He got this plan just to protect his kids because he's Superman. He works in the hospital. He's super dad. But he got sick, but he also benefited from this plan. So who do you know any family man working in a hospital exposes they just want to have extra protection just in case, because he did get something from his work, but he got this on top of that. Amazing. Thank you.
Awesome.
Great job, guys. So again, it ended up being a sickness, and it wasn't an accident here. So it's, just of the HES here, guys. So great job, Jester, getting that coverage, $4,800. And to somebody that's working amongst that kind of stuff, being around patients, being around COVID, you can actually catch it. And our company doesn't go, oh no, you're working in the hospital, you can't get paid because you're working too close to it. And a lot of other companies do that. So guys, that's the difference of what we have here. This company is unbelievable, and wait till the world finds out about it. So let's practice these two here with Janelle and Jester on the COVID cases. We'll come back in 3 minutes. See you guys shortly. Great job. All right, welcome back, welcome back. Turn to your neighbor, give them a high five, and say thank you for the shares. All right, guys. So we're going to be doing some more next week here. So we're going to go through where, but we have one last one for today here. And we have the lovely Teresa Valtner to take this one away. So let's give it up for Teresa. Let's give her a huge round of applause.
Oh, we've had some really traumatic stories here today, and it's kind of hard getting through the morning, but it really does validate who we are and what we do. So this story, basically, I mean, who do you know that, a parent always loves to train and teach their kids different little things. But imagine, where, a dad, sometimes they like to sit with them in the car and practice the car, do whatever. Well, this little guy was actually sitting on a motorbike with his dad, 7 years old, and they were just moving around just a little bit, and the bike kicked. Like it just kicked and it went up. Unfortunately, the bike went flying up in the air. The both fell on the ground, but the bike fell on the little guy. He was rushed to the hospital. He spent 17 days in the ICU, actually fighting for his life. He was on life support. He had a craniotomy and everything because they had to open up his head and let for the swelling of the brain and everything else like that. And he's going to undergo a really long recovery, but he had a traumatic head injury and broke many different bones in his body. He was in ICU for 17 days, but then he was also hospitalized for a total for another 45. He's now in a rehabilitation hospital where he started his recovery process, and he's actually going to be qualified to be paid whatever 3 times 45 is. I forget the number now, but he hasn't even been paid for that so far. This was just the hospitalization component for $22,600. So who do you know that maybe has kids, and maybe they just like to have fun with their kids, and maybe they're very active or whatever the case might be? Well, you never know when an accident can happen. This little boy was playing with his dad, had the bike kick while they were on this little motorbike, and sustained many different injuries. So who do you know whose family likes to get involved and could benefit from a program like this? Big thing too, before we move, this is a business owner, like a very wealthy businessman. He said, let's get this on our family first, and then let's start. I want to look at putting on things for my employees. And we're talking very financially set family. However, they have other children at home. Both of them have been side by side with the little guy through the whole entire time, but they've seen what the value of what our company is doing, and they're so excited to get this put on all of their employees, because they know their employees don't have the same kind of financial peace of mind that they would. So this is really important when you're talking to business owners, because business owners, when they really have a family run business and they love their employees, when the worst thing happens to their employees or their employee family members, their heart goes out to them, but they can't necessarily pay for every incident to be able to help those families through those really tough times. So this was on a $200 a day plan, and they totally see the value. They're really sad that they didn't go for the higher amount, because they know this little guy will have problems for the rest of his life. But they are so grateful because of making the decision that they did in the family plan. They have guaranteed insurability for this little boy for the rest of his life, because he no longer has to medically qualify. He just moves on to an individual plan when he turns 25. So this is such a big thing. Families are what our focus are. So we can get out there and help those families. Story after story after story that you hear, we help families in so many different ways. So who do you know who has a family who could really benefit from this kind of coverage should something happen to any member of their family?
Wow. Let's give it up for Teresa here. A huge round of applause, guys. And just to touch on this one, this is a business owner. We're going to put that in here too, so that you guys can see that when you're showing this, that it says business owner. This is a very, very wealthy business owner that most times say, I don't need it because I am also self-insured. But why use your own money and all that kind of stuff? So Teresa, and then just, we want to give Teresa, let's give Teresa a huge round of applause for this one, is to be able to go, no, this is why you want to use this instead of your own money. And just having that thing, because their first question is that, and then that's why they have this coverage. And something like this, again, is not easy to happen to anyone, but it happens. And this is the family plan. This is why we got to go out there. So let's go practice for 2 minutes. We'll come back and then we'll get into the video. So let's give Teresa a huge round of applause. We'll come back in 2 minutes, guys. Great job. All right, welcome back, welcome back. Turn to your neighbor, give him a high five and say, thank you, Teresa. So some great shares today, guys. Let's give everybody who shared here today a huge round of applause, guys. These are some, yeah, get family plans, guys. Obviously, we can see this thing. I mean, a family plan is such a crazy discount because it also sometimes a family of 5, it's 5 people can claim on the one thing, like, guys, and it's the prices are not 5 times. It's like incredible what we can get people on for their families on the AD&E and all these types of products. And guys, that's $22,000 so far. We'll give you the update of what it is, but it says this is when you're going through, like, hold on, remember I showed you that claim? And then you go back to them and be like, this is not even including the recovery, and they got 22,000, but it just gets them a peace of mind, and they don't want to be breaking into their own money. And that's why we're here, guys, is we're giving them peace of mind to everyone that they're taking care of themselves, because every single person needs an HA and HES. That's for sure, because anything serious happens, this is what it is. And this is the stories that gets us pumped up too. So give yourselves a huge round of applause here today, guys. All right, so we're going to go in a wonderful video with Jim Ronan's how to manage your time effectively. This guy's the master of masters. The way he talks about it is just so fun and everything like that. But just make sure you guys are really listening to this, because this is really, really could change your business, change your mindset, change everything about how success is really done. And let's enjoy this video. We'll come back and we'll close everything out. We'll see you guys shortly. Great job, everyone. There's a whole training right in there. But guys, that is something you definitely want to listen to later on. And we'll probably go through a few of those things on Monday. But let's get to the R2A2. So the R2A2 is, the idea I got was what it means to me. Here's how I'll use it, and my starting date is. So obviously we had some great claim stories, and an awesome MVP, and a nice little video to close it out here, guys. So let's take an R2A2 from today and let's put it into action. All right, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Turn to your neighbor, give them a high five and say thank you for the R2A2. Great job, everybody. Fantastic here. So let's close this thing out here. First of all, guys, it's Ardmore week, and this is the last push to the end of the cycle. So make sure you're pushing right now. You never know what can happen. Even the worst case scenario, it sets you up for the next beginning of the next one. But you guys really want to push and give everything you got. So, and then give yourselves a huge round of applause here for putting full out here today. So great job. And let's give it up for Janelle Anderson, the PMA definition of it all, guys. So honestly, and learning from her was like, you know what? Have a goal, 13-week streak. And then have, okay, I can do 13-week streak. Now, what if I do 13 6-point week streak? And then you can start to build up on it, because then you're starting to grow. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just be like this, but let people know your goal, right? Because don't keep that inside, because then you'll never come on the outside, right? So fantastic. Let's get up to Janelle Anderson. What a great speech here. And a nice little story there. That was fantastic. And guys, here also here today is all the speakers that spoke here today and shared all the claims. Let's give everybody a huge round of applause right across the board here, guys, because these are not easy stories to talk about. And I heard, Dan and Ryan talking about it, is we need to highlight the bigger stories. And the reason why we need to highlight the bigger stories is because people don't understand what this is yet, but they can also translate it to life. Now, if every single person knows, okay, this is serious and I can get the big gain from this, they know to get HAHES. And then if they're worried about other things, you can tell them the smaller stories. The smaller stories still count because they're a bit more fun, because it's like, oh, but along the way, we don't, if anything smaller happens, like a break or something like that, you're also taken care of. And look at this person, this person, this person. So it's also starting here and then coming back. So using the big stories all the time is the big key, because that's why we're here, right? If you're just like, oh, listen, you get a stitch, you get $500, that's because you don't believe in it enough. Because you have to understand that if they see a big claim like that, they like, you show a family member, a business owner, a family guy that owns, has money and everything like that, and sees that, they're in. So they're just saying that we're not showing those things and going like that. So we can get better at that altogether. Just sitting in these stories, knowing them off the top of our heads every single time, knowing exactly what it is and having them on our hands and on our phones. So let's give everybody here a huge round of applause here. Some really great stories. And thank you so much, Ginny, for breaking through on that one, because those ones are really huge, guys. And then obviously the video here, guys, of just understanding, this is like, time is the one thing we all got. And that's why we're all that's why I look at anybody can be anyone, or anyone can do anything. I don't look at, Grant Cardone and Warren Buffett or anything like that. I just think that they just went a little bit more focused on what they're doing a little bit more than we did yet. But then we also can start focusing on things, and we can change everything, because it's all the one universal thing is time, and just where we focus our time and put our energy into time. And that's what he talks about, the majors and the minors. One of the best ways that he can say things like that, right? But a lot of people, it's called busy work, right? This business, if you look at that avatar and just go like this, I'm going to do those things. And then you get to go play. And what Janelle said was a little secret, get it done in the beginning of the week and then have it done. But don't go play if you didn't work. That's the discipline. That's the toughest part. So it's like, you know what? I got to make sure I did all this. But if you did 20 appointments in a week and something just didn't land or something like that, you got one sale or something like nothing as much as you wanted, that's okay, because you did the work to go into it. And that's the inner battle that you can go do. But you got to be majoring in the major things. So every time you're on an appointment or you're making calls to book an appointment, that's the majors. That's where you make the big bucks. That's what you ever heard in baseball. The majors is called the big league, and the minors is called the place where people don't make money, because they're focusing on the minor stuff, right? So you got to understand, you want to be in the majors, you want to be doing those types of things every day. So everything he said, did you even hear? He said writing down lists, debriefing, all that kind of stuff, even the claims and all that. That's not major stuff. That is afterwards that can lead to it, but you can find different times in the day. If you're doing your 3 appointments to 5 appointments a day, you're going to be walking away and having so much fun. So make sure you know what you're focusing on and what's your number one thing that you're focused on, because it's just like, boom, here's my avatar. Bobby's like this, here's my 10. That's exciting. Yes. Because then here's the major stuff. What's going on? she's just like a sketch. But that is something that you write down and you spend the time on, because most people won't go do what you just did there, Bobby. I know. That's the real talk. Because we're going to be like, this is my business. This is how I can go do this thing. But I've never spent enough time to practice my presentation to get it a little bit better. I haven't practiced to get it, because if I'm 1 out of 10, guys, I'm telling you, if I'm 1 out of 10, I'm trying to get 8 out of 10. I want to go like, hey, Dan, what are you doing? Hey, Janelle, how are you doing this? Hey, Ginny, hey, who's this Al guy? How is he at 10? And then you find out from Al that guess what's he doing? He's doing referrals. And you're like, oh, and then you go back to the training. It says 40%. As soon as you sit down with somebody that's ordered referrals, 40%. So what? I'm 4 out of 10 already. As soon as I walk into that one, I need as many referrals as possible. Then your brain starts thinking like, okay, hold on, let me get into the majors, but let's just talk about introductions. Let's get good at introductions. Let me practice. Hey, sales leader, hey, can I talk to you? We're going to practice introductions. And then that's what they're going to be like, yes, let's go do it. Yeah. But you've got to take that shot, because that's what this business is out. Because we get in front of people, they can't say no, because we all need everybody to understand that they need HAHS more than life insurance, more than anything. Because something's going to happen to someone in their family somewhere, and we actually have discounts. Those discounts will not be here forever. Because when you do the actuaries of this product, it doesn't make any sense that you can have 8 kids on the same price as having 2 kids. So guys, we have a chance to go out there and get so many people grandfathered in on these new products and stuff like that. Guys, we got to go out there and set this thing up, finish off the cycle strong, work as hard as we possibly can, have fun. Let's go do this, and then go have fun in the sun. Go get some tannage afterwards, right? But let's just go make sure we're doing our 10 things and getting this all set up and doing as much as we possibly can to go out there and get everything we can for our family and friends. So let's go do this one last time. Thank you, Janelle. Thank you, all the speakers today. Thank you, everyone, because we're District 6N. We got this. District 6N? We're District 6N? Turn to your neighbor, give them a high five and say, we got this. Great job, everybody on Zoom. Great job. Thank you for the shares.